Welcome back to Unapologetically Woman. We're celebrating phenomenal women all across Kentucky who make no apologies for their perspectives or the impacts that they're making in the community. Today we're celebrating Raquel Carter. Raquel is a wife, a mom, and the owner of Guide Realty. Unapologetically Woman, Raquel Carter, that's you. Welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to celebrate you. So tell us, how did you get started? Because I know you've got a journey. You didn't just arrive.
Absolutely. I have quite a journey, but I love to say that I'm in this position today because my mother made me do it. I usually say my mama made me do it, but I don't know if that's good for TV or not.
Well, that's okay.
Absolutely. So my mama made me do it, and I also say that pretty often because I have children. And so I can prove to them that they need to just do what I tell them to do.
Just trust it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I was actually talked into real estate by my mother, who was in real estate first, and that was 20 years ago this year that I got my real estate license. So I followed my mother into real estate, and then I had my license for a few years, probably 5 or 6 years, and we were at a larger brokerage here locally, and she said, you know what, I'm going out on my own. You coming? And I'm like, oh, I guess so.
Yeah, I'm coming.
So in 2008, Guide Realty was born. That's exactly how it happened.
Well, how does that feel to know that you and your mom don't just have that special mother-daughter relationship, but you're business partners?
Yeah, well, my mother actually passed away a few years ago. So her starting this and actually creating this legacy is really what gave me the motivation to continue to go on. I might also mention, as I said, it was 2008 when we first started, and 2008, some of you guys know, is when the market crashed, right? So we were in real estate. We just opened our own company, and the entire real estate market had crashed. So being in that particular time and working through that economically, without my mother having done that, having started that, and then unfortunately she was diagnosed with cancer and passed away a few years later, I look back and I think, if not for that, I might have quit. You know, I really might not have pushed through, but I knew my mother had started something. It was a legacy for us and our family, so I just kept going even when it was hard.
Even when it's hard, you have to keep going. And then, you know, being without her and knowing that this is her legacy, how does that feel? Yeah,
well, wonderful. It actually is a great feeling. I'm finally getting over the part where I hear my mother fussing at me all the time, because she was actually the administrative one. She was the broker first. She was, you know, all the forms, dot your I's, cross your T. And I was just like, let's get out here, have fun, and sell some stuff, right? So now as the owner and the broker, you know, I have to hear her in my head all the time, like, okay, first you have to be legal, and you have to run the company, and you're responsible for a lot more people. But it really is the fuel. It's the inspiration that keeps me going.
And keeps you motivated.
Keeps me motivated.
I know she must be so proud.
Yeah, I sure hope so. She still fusses sometimes, I'm sure of it. But I know that she'd be proud of where we are and surprised. Yeah, when we first opened Guide Realty, and again, it was my mother's idea, her whole vision was do you remember Designing Women?
Yes.
The TV show? Yes. So that was her whole real estate vision. Like her, me, and a few of her friends hanging out in the living room, you know, talking, selling houses occasionally. So she would be so surprised to see where we are now, I believe.
Now, you have really grown.
Yes,
how many realtors do you have now?
So we have 40 realtors now. We just brought on 2 in Louisville, so we're expanding to the Louisville market.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we'll be opening an office down there before the end of the year. And 40 agents, 4 full-time staff and a couple of part-time staff, so it's a lot different than sitting on the couch in the living room with my Designing Women.
And you know, well, I'm just thinking that you're in a position where you help people's dreams come true every day.
Absolutely.
And you get to witness that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I get to do it in my role in 2 different ways.
Okay.
I get to do it with the clients, with homeowners and investors, and watching people build wealth in that type of area. But I also get to do it with my agents, because each one of them is opening their own business, right? And so I get to work with them on, you're starting from scratch. This is how you build your business. This is how you can be in a position as well, so that then you can give back to the community and build wealth and do those things. So I get all the fun.
Well, that building wealth part is something that you're committed to, because you work with equity and diversity and inclusion. Why does that matter to you?
Yeah, well, absolutely. what is so alarming is that the gaps are getting wider. You know, we have seen some great success, and I'm so blessed, and my husband and I, we've worked really hard, and we're really involved in a bunch of wealth building, real estate spaces, that type of thing. But when I look at even the home ownership gap, I've read that it was worse now than it was in the 60s between African Americans and white families. Mm-hmm. So we're worse now than we were in the 60s. You know, so it really, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But some of it is education, some of it is understanding, and a lot of it is just mindset. And I can even tell you from a business perspective, when we talk about how I grew, you know, from working in the living room to this 5,000 square foot space with all these agents, a lot of that had to do with mindset. Because when I was in the smaller space with a smaller team, I had about 5 or 6 agents at that time. When I was in that space, it was comfortable. And I was successful. You know, I was still doing well, and you were making money, and it's comfortable, and everybody's happy. But, you know, you have that nagging feeling that there's something else you can do. Right. But you don't really want to get out there and do it. And what I realized is that we do that. We limit, you know, we limit our goals. We limit how big we can be. We're comfortable with being a small business. And I was like, I don't want to be a small business anymore. I want to be a big business. All right. And so once I said that and I realized, oh, I can change my goal and I can get it, then everything, you know, just shifted and moved exactly as it was supposed to.
And so the space, you mentioned the space that you're in now. I love the space. It's incredible because it's not just a space for the realtors to be there.
That is true. That is true. We opened our new office space. We started planning it in 2020. We opened it in March of 2021, right in the middle of, you know, a pandemic where nobody was coming outside, right? So this big old space when everybody's locked in their house. But when we did that, I also understood it wasn't a workspace. You know, that agents, like most professions now, but particularly as realtors, we've always been like our office was in our car, right? Mm-hmm, right. You could work anywhere. And so that concept hasn't changed. But what I knew was I wasn't building a place for people to work. You know, I was building a place like for the community to come in, for the agents, the business builders, their partnerships, so we could bring people into us and actually offer things. And sometimes we just have fun. Yeah.
Well, and that's what I was there. I was there just to have fun. And
absolutely.
You know, the space, you know, is so inclusive and inviting. Yeah. You know, I was like, oh, this is so exciting. Now, your space, we're not going to pretend like you're not married to Bishop Carter.
Oh, yeah, I know him a little.
Yeah, you know Bishop. Tell us a little bit about what Bishop does and how that you guys work together.
Yeah. Well, Bishop Carter, he's actually the owner of Elaine Allen, LLC, and they are construction. Commercial construction company. So they're commercial construction management, general contracting, and they definitely finished our space. People always joke, oh.
Did he listen to you, or how did that work out?
No, he listened. He actually did listen. He listened. He got the vision. I did not get a discount. I tell people all the time, yeah, I'm still paying for it. So he's not cheap. Oh, no. But, you know, you pay people what they're worth in different ways. So anyway.
That's right.
Yeah, so no, absolutely. So I just joke about that. Well, he actually, I did get a great deal, of course. But he also understood the plan, you know, understood the vision, understood what I was doing. And it's also been a space for him and his company, and you know they'll utilize the space as well sometimes too. So we work really well together in those spaces. And the wealth building, we're working on some commercial projects together. So we're not directly aligned, but kind of parallel in all of our real estate versus commercial needs. So we're a pretty good team.
Now, is that one of the reasons? Well, I guess all of this is kind of interconnected for you, but you're also very interested and committed to having affordable housing in the community.
Yes, absolutely. Well, the affordable housing thing, you know, I almost stumbled into because, again, it was 20 years ago when I started real estate, so I was younger. And when you start real estate, you mostly sell to people you know and your friends, and they were like me. We were young, we were broke. You know, we didn't understand about buying houses, but, you know, my mother knew I needed to do it, and she forced me to do it. So at first it became just having to figure out how to work with the people that are around you. And then when you realize that was such a challenge, and that everybody didn't know somebody in that space, then you start realizing that there's such a big gap. Now, as the market has, you know, prices have gone up and things have gotten kind of crazy. As that's happened, I think it's even become worse. It's widened because there used to be just maybe some lower income folks and some folks that needed to work on their credit, first time home buyers that I had to work with to get into houses. But now we have families, 2 income families with professional people that can't find a house that they can afford. So, it's just gotten worse.
The market is crazy.
Yeah, it's just gotten worse and not better. And, they're competing with cash buyers and investors and they're having to buy houses without inspections and things that we don't normally advise. But what I always counsel both the clients and the agents is to still reiterate the importance of getting into homeownership. Once you're into that house, once you own that property, whatever is going on around you, it doesn't matter quite as much. You focus on your personal economy, you pay your bills every month, but
right.
you're not so concerned. You're not worried about if the landlord's going to sell the house or raise the rent. You're not worried about interest rates going up and down and that type, because you're already in your house. Yours is already established, right? Mm-hmm. So understanding that even though it's not as easy as it was, or you may not get to negotiate the way you used to, if you're sitting on the outside, you're also not benefiting from it. So.
Wow. Speaking of sitting on the outside, you work a lot to promote women in the community, women of color. Why is that important to you?
Well, what else would I do? What else? No, just being in the space, and I've had a lot of good luck, good success, good partners around the way. And what I have found is that most things aren't intentional. Most times people aren't not including you intentionally. It does happen occasionally, but it's just the not knowing, it's not being connected, it's not having the right people in your corner. So once I realized that, it's like, okay, now when I start to know people, and I know wonderful people like you and other people in higher places, I'm thinking, if I meet somebody that I could help, if I meet another woman that I can help, just to introduce her, to get her in the door,
right.
That's all the difference in the world. Like, nobody really needs you to do anything for them except put you in the right place so that you could do your thing.
I love that. But the right place for you is not shopping. It's not in a store.
No. I love to joke about the best part about COVID was that online shopping, delivering groceries, all that became more normal because, otherwise I felt a little privileged because, I didn't want to go to I don't want to go to the store.
I am right there with you.
Are you? See,
yes.
I thought I was all my girlfriends, everybody thinks that something's wrong with me. We will go on entire girl trips and I'm like, well, when you guys go shop, I'll be sitting right here at I'll find the closest restaurant.
And that's where you'll be
I'll be here when you get done.
That sounds like my kind of girl.
Absolutely.
Okay, so before we go, for young girls and young women who are watching, who are looking at you and saying, gosh, I wonder, what it takes to be like her, what kind of advice would you give them?
Oh, I love that. I would first let them know that what you see today is not always what was there. My journey was not straight. I had lots of bumps. I won't start the story about how many times and how long it took me to graduate from college. But I just want to encourage them and let them know that it doesn't matter wherever you are, like right now. You just start where you are. You set your dreams bigger than you think that they can be, and you just go for them. I just did a speech not long ago, and I can't remember the book. I think it's called Chasing the Lion, but it talks about God-sized dreams. And it's saying that, if your dream's not big enough, that you need God to make it work, like without Him, there's no way in heck you're ever going to hit that dream or make that goal, then it's not big enough. If we can do it by ourselves, it's not big enough. It's easy, right? So just to push yourself, don't listen to other people discourage you and say, hey, there's something in your gut that knows that you can be bigger or better in whatever area it is, and you just go. Just go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You guys heard it from Raquel Carter today. Start where you are and dream bigger than you think you're capable of. Continue to watch as we celebrate other phenomenal women just like Raquel on Unapologetically Woman. I'll talk to you all soon.